Hello, and welcome to our second documentary review here on Should I Watch That? I am your fearless leader, and my name is Janet.
And I am your co-captain, Rachel. I don't know. I was trying to think of something funny, but that was, I did the best I could.
Make it so, number one.
Yeah.
Well, so our last episode, we talked about a documentary.
Mhm.
I hope you listened, and I hope it made you just as angry as it made us. And we're going to hit you with a second documentary
Which
on this episode.
will also make you equally, if not more so, actually more angry. This
More
one
angry,
makes me even more angry.
And you wouldn't like her when she's angry.
No.
Like, it's not pretty.
No, I have red hair. I erupt into fire, basically.
I have fake red hair, and I'm just as angry.
Mhm.
So on this episode, we will be discussing the three-part docuseries called Betrayal, Under His Eye, available on Hulu. And it's also based on the podcast called Betrayal.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Which is a really good podcast. They came out with the podcast before they came out with the show. So the TV show
Yes.
has like a few, maybe 3 seasons, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the latest season, and it was released September 2nd. So brand new as of this recording on September the 9th. But I'll give a little synopsis if that's okay with you, Janet.
Sure. Go. And I guess also before we get started,
Oh, yes.
perhaps a trigger warning
Correct.
for anyone who has been the victim of sexual abuse
Any kind of abuse.
in any shape or form,
Yes.
or specifically by a
Caregiver.
step parent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Trigger warning and spoiler.
Yeah.
Because like we said last episode, we can't really do this topic or this documentary justice without really discussing it in full. So,
Exactly.
it's not like our usual TV shows and movies that we're just goofing off. We really want to make sure that we give this subject matter the attention that it deserves and the seriousness that it deserves. So,
And the anger.
and the intense rage. So,
Yeah.
the core plot of this is there's this woman. Her name is Stacy Rutherford. She is a single mother, and she meets this man named Justin Rutherford. And that is the last time we will say his name.
Thank you.
As we did.
He does not deserve to have his name spoken.
No, and I would argue he's even worse than the perpetrator in the last episode. But this is a wild story. So Stacy, she had 2 children. She had a daughter and a son by the time she met Justin. I'm sorry I said his name. I just said we weren't. Oh. She met the POS. That's what we'll call him.
Mm-hmm.
He, at the time, I think had just finished medical school. So he was younger than her by quite a bit. They started dating. They decided they were going to be together. They moved with him to another state, I think Pennsylvania, when he matched into residency to do his residency training as a family medicine doctor. So when she met the POS, her son was around 10 or 11. And her daughter was a few years older than him. So Basically, everything was going great.
Well, and they even talk she even, in the documentary herself, says, when the first date they went on, she was like, "So, I have 2
Mhm.
kids." And he was like, "That's fine. I love kids." And she's like, "Even better." And even from the get-go, when he did meet her 2 children, they immediately just kind of hit it off, and she said he was very outgoing and, like, maybe a little immature at times, like, laughing and joking and roughhousing and everything, but the kids didn't seem to have a good relationship with their biological father
Correct.
and just immediately clicked with, the POS that she brought home.
Mhm.
And in her mind, you know, I think she even said, like, she had prayed for this kind of relationship and prayed for a husband and, someone who would love her children as much as she does, and she just thought it was a miracle from God, essentially.
Yeah.
And the kids were the same. Like, the kids, when they first met him and the first amount of time they spent with him,
Mhm.
really liked him, and they needed a dad, and he was supportive and loving and fun and kind of everything that they wanted in a father.
Right. And uh, you know, pretty much the entire first episode goes through the impact that he had, the positive impact that he
Mhm.
had on their family. Like you said, they didn't have a relationship really with their biological father. Stacy, the mom, I think had married him pretty young, had her first kid pretty young. And it just didn't work out and moved on kind of thing. And she talked about her struggles with self esteem and things like that. So when she met this guy and he seemed like he had it all, he
Mhm.
was training to be a doctor again. And once he met the kids, like he really stepped into that father role and seemingly was fantastic. She
Mhm.
saw no problems for years.
And for years,
Years.
and she goes on to marry him and have 2 more children
Yes.
with him.
Yes.
And again, life is perfection. They buy this beautiful house that has a swimming pool, and all the kids' friends come over and go swimming and hang out, and,
Mhm.
it's like the ultimate teenage funhouse, yeah,
Yeah,
for her kids and everybody, and, she's just living the dream,
correct.
she thinks.
And when they're living in this big house, he's, practicing as a physician, so he's a trusted member of their community and all
Mhm.
that, as the predators usually are. Um
Mhm.
and yeah, like Janet said, their house became like the hangout spot for all the kids and like their friends and all of that. And by the time everything started to crumble, Tyler, the son, was in high school. Um,
Mhm.
the daughter was, like I said, older. She was already out of the house. But basically, Stacy came home one day and there were cops at her house searching the house. And she was like, WTF. She had she had absolutely no clue. She had no warning. And essentially what they told her, the cops sat her down and they were like, "Hey, a teenage boy was over at your house and found a hidden camera in the bathroom. And we did some investigating. He told his mother, they reported it to police. We started some investigating and whew, I cannot even imagine. And that whew, I didn't even mean to do that like it was a sound bite. That was my real sigh, okay? This poor woman, Stacy, they like opened up a binder to show her pictures of what they had pulled off of this recording device that was in the bathroom. And then she realized it was her husband that had put this recording device in the bathroom. So not only did they have like pictures of her children on there, but there were also the other kids that were always around the house. So once that first kind of domino fell, it was like a damn floodgate opened.
Mhm.
And what they found out was absolutely wild. Like, uh, uh, Janet, do you want to jump in here, or do you want me to keep going? Because
Eh,
I.
we well, so it's the camera,
Mm-hmm.
and you and I remember in the documentary, she gets there, and, of course, you come home to police in your house and in your driveway,
Mm-hmm.
and, like, if it were me, my first thought is, "Who died?" Um, but they're like, "Well, you know why we're here." And she's like, "I have no idea why you're here. Like, my life is perfect. My kids are beautiful. My husband's a doctor."
Right.
And when they start to show her, I can't imagine the shock.
No.
Like there's gotta be part of you, okay, again, always on the fence. There's gotta be part of you that's like, "This is not real. This is not happening," to quote the X-Files, "This is not happening."
Yeah.
And then the other part of you is, "I always knew there was something wrong." I hear that
Well,
so much, and eh the documentary kind of gets into that a little bit later.
yeah.
Um, but the camera, and then one of her son's friends comes forward and says, "I was hanging out at your house. Asshole let me have a couple of beers,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I spent the night, and then I woke up in a compromising position with the asshole, and but he couldn't remember anything else that happened.
Yes.
It was just a circumstantial situation, and the police were kind of like, "Well, what can we really do with that? If you don't know what happened, we can't prove something bad happened." And then that to me, that's when the second bombshell drops.
The second? I feel like that was the second.
Oh, well, to me, the second big, I guess the big bombshell was
The
when her
stepson.
son Tyler, yeah, her son, the asshole stepson, comes forward and says, "Yeah, so by the way, he's been abusing me since I was 11 years old." And the asshole basically comes across, as you proceed in the documentary, that he was convinced that he was in a loving relationship. Huh.
Yeah. I mean,
You like,
yes.
come on.
And really, the son.
Come on.
So the son, his name's Tyler. He doesn't come out and talk about it right away. Like when
Right.
the initial stuff happens, like Stacy the mom sends him off to be with her sister. She's like, I need to keep these kids safe. And you know what?
Mhm.
Kudos to that woman because she took action immediately. I feel like I have seen so many stories where women stay with the abuser and continue to put their kids at risk for the
They
abuse.
believe the abuser over their own children.
Correct. So I have to give her crazy props because I feel like time and time again I have heard in true crime stories where the mother like stays with the perpetrator and that enrages me. So I
Mhm.
will say, Stacy, yes, queen. Okay. You got those kids out of
Mhm.
there. You did the things that you should have done as a mother to protect your children. Um,
Exactly.
So it's revealed that this friend was abused by him, as Janet mentioned, but the cops tried to say, like, well, there's not enough evidence and that kid
Mhm.
isn't reliable because they were under the influence. So the family is realizing, well, damn, he could really kind of get away, possibly without jail time or without much jail time, just on the recording people without their knowledge, whatever, right?
Mhm. Right.
And that's when Tyler was like, I've got to do something. I've got to stand up and make sure that this monster gets held accountable for what he's done. And that's when he reveals that he was abused. And then uh, this poor child, like his description of like how he was abused was just horrible. And I felt like he was so brave to, detail because I mean, he was embarrassed,
Oh, like, he was mortified and like, the shame he must have
ashamed.
felt, uh, and, like, you're and what he and his sister, well, I think probably more him, it said on several occasions in the documentary was he's like, "My mom was so happy.
Yes.
I didn't wanna do anything to mess that up."
Yes.
And it's like, "Oh my god," like, ah, you see where they're coming from as a
As
kid
a kid,
because you're like, "I wanna be a good son, and I want to see because I've seen my mother miserable, and now she seems really happy, and
I don't want to be the
if
reason she's unhappy.
right, I don't wanna be." Yes, and it's like, "Oh my god, if she only knew."
Hmm.
Oh,
Well,
and I feel like oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought that the documentary did a really good job. Excuse me. They did a good job of bringing in experts to kind of explain those dynamics. Um,
Mhm.
because even throughout the documentary, even after he disclosed his abuse, he still said, like, I felt so conflicted because this man, even though he was abusing me, he was the only father I ever really knew. So they brought
So
on Anthony Edwards, who is an actor, and he is most known for his roles in the show ER and the movie Top Gun. And
mhm,
he works with a male survivor advocacy group called One in Six. And they brought him on to talk about the case, and really the broader importance of male survivors. And I think he said, I might not be quoting this statistic properly, but I believe he said the average time to report for men is like 50 years.
and that
They hold
eh,
on to it
living
for so long.
in the society we live in, I totally understand.
Yes.
Because if you're a guy, you're supposed to be big and tough and strong, and men don't cry, and men take care of them. Like men, it, it just breaks my heart that there are so many men who suffer or
Yes.
who live with that or live with the shame,
Mhm.
that because they're too embarrassed. And it was just really interesting listening to Anthony Edwards speak about his. I mean, he didn't really talk about his own personal experience,
No.
just that it had happened.
Yeah.
But, the fact that he speaks publicly about it, because I think I don't know how to put I don't want to say this wrong, but like when a woman comes forward, you're kind of like, oh, bless your heart, who did this to you? But a man comes forward and it's like, well, what was your problem? Why did you let that happen? I just feel like there's a stigma for men to be that honest and to be public about stuff like that. And I think that is heartbreaking
Yes.
that people live with it.
Yes, and also, um extremely confusing,
Mhm.
especially for a boy to be abused by a man um, at a time when he was just coming into adolescence, just coming into his own sexuality for himself, and
Mhm.
to be victimized in the way that he was, to then, I'm sure, question, at the end, he does say, well, now I have a girlfriend. I'm happy. We're happy. We're working through things, like, great. But I'm sure that this kid, this poor fucking kid, went through years of questioning. Am I gay? Like, what does this mean for me, my identity as a person?
Right.
Because I was victimized by a man, you know? So,
Yes. Mm.
um, I don't know. There's a lot of dynamics happening in this documentary. And I do want to talk about, so God. So after Tyler disclosed his abuse, okay?
Mhm.
They, he is the POS
Mhm.
leaves the country. He takes off. He takes off. And he's gone for like a year, right? He
Yeah.
goes abroad and he's in Europe for like a year. So the family is like sitting at home like scared. They're like, what is he going to
Mhm.
do? Will he come back? Will he not come back? What will he do if he comes back?
Will
S-
he ever be punished? What if he doesn't come back?
right. What if they don't catch him? Blah, blah, blah. Well, this dipshit, I mean, I'm glad he did, but he comes back.
Right?
He came
Eh,
back. The the FBI and the police put him on a watch list. So as soon as he stepped foot into the country, they detained him
Mhm.
because he's a stupid person. But no, he's not stupid. He was that brazen.
Yes,
He
because
he
he
felt
was
that
in love
he
with
yeah,
Tyler.
yes, he felt that confidently that he would not be, I don't know, held accountable for abusing a child.
Mhm. Mhm.
So he ends up pleading guilty. In February 2024, he pleads guilty to charges including the sexual assault of a minor, invasion of privacy, and get this, conspiracy to commit murder. Because while he's sitting in jail, he's trying to pay people to go kill Tyler, a teenage boy.
So he won't testify against him,
Yes.
and maybe his sentence will be much
Right.
less.
If Tyler's dead, I could just imagine this idiot sitting in his cell being like, I mean, but this just shows the level of desperation because he realized he was
Mhm.
caught. He realized the consequences that were about to happen. He was like calling. Okay, so another part of this that we'll get into in a minute, but he had this godmother who basically raised him,
Oh.
who was like a mother to him. She had been living with the family and she was an enabler. I mean, let's just say what it is. Like she helped take care of the kids and she was like part of the family at large. And even when he went to
Mhm.
prison, she was still there helping to take care of the kids, which
Mhm.
okay, I get it. Childcare is hard to come by. But and I want to get into that in a minute, but he was like calling her and being like, find someone to kill him. And then he was like asking his cellmate to find someone to kill. Like he really went through, he went through some shit in there because he was trying to have a teenager murdered.
Right. And And I'm glad you brought this up because I had some thoughts on the
So
nanny, which
many.
is what they called her.
Yes, so many thoughts. I do too. Go ahead.
And basically, when it comes out that he did what he did, and I think she refused to be interviewed.
Mhm.
Um, but like, instead of siding with the family, instead of disowning him, instead of telling the police where he was
Mhm.
because he was in hiding before he left the country,
Yes.
and instead of helping the police or coordinating with the police to get him to do something, no, she keeps her mouth shut.
Mhm.
Like, he will call her while she's at Stacy's house, and she'll step outside and talk to him while the family is there when he was gone. Um,
Yeah.
and like, I okay, I do not have human children, and I'm sure there is a point where you don't want to believe that your adult child is a pedophile and a rapist.
I mean,
But, like, where do you draw the line? And again, uh, we talked a little bit about this last episode. Like, you never know what you're gonna do until you're in the situation.
yes.
From my side, oh my gosh, nanny, step up to the plate.
Well,
Step up and say something.
you know what? We talked about this exact theme when we
Mhm,
talked about hunting wives.
mhm.
How women treat their sons.
Yes.
They
Yes, we
they
did.
baby them, they coddle them, and they shield them from repercussions of their actions. And that's what Nanny was doing. Okay? Because she was shielding him instead of protecting children.
Children.
Like, she also, so part of him being locked up was that he could not have any contact with Tyler.
Mhm.
And she showed up to Tyler's gym, handed him a note that the piece of shit wrote to him,
Mhm.
telling him that he needs to recant his testimony and drop the charges. And then she snatches the note and runs out.
Like, what part of breaking the law do you not get?
But also, what level of mental fuckery are you
Right.
dealing with
Right.
that you do not see the problem with doing that?
Right.
And I understand that he has also manipulated Nanny because he threatened to kill himself,
Mhm.
etc. Um and listen, he was sentenced to 26 to 70 years plus additional time for the murder plot. So, I mean, this man won't get out of prison hopefully. And
Hopefully.
I mean, prison justice, wink wink, you know,
Mhm.
inmates don't take
Well,
kindly to people that abuse children. So,
I hope they don't. And there's another thing that really got my goat, as it were.
mhm,
Um, Before the murder plot came out, the asshole was, like, trying to get in touch with Stacy. He's like, "I love my children. I miss my
yes,
children, blah, 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 blah. You know, if you're not gonna bring my children to see me, can we at least do, like, a FaceTime thing or some," like, he just begged her because he loved the children so
that's
much.
right.
I d and again, man, I sit on the fence. I see why she would say yes on some level, but on the other hand, why? Why would you let that interaction happen knowing what you know?
Well,
And the second
go
oh,
ahead.
oh,
I think,
quick
mm,
part 2 part 2 of that, he revealed later
yes,
that he was just using that as a way to try to videotape the layout of the house, so when the person came in to kill Tyler, they would know where everything was.
yes. That's what I was gonna say.
Oh my god. Like,
Wild. So he didn't even
this fuck.
care about talking to his children.
No.
He was just casing
No.
the house, their new place that they
Yes.
were living, so that he could tell whoever he was going to hire to kill Tyler. Yes, that's wild. Like, oh my god.
And I'm not much on like Dante's 7 layers, what's the word, of hell, but
Mhm.
like there is a
Levels.
special place, levels,
I
layer
don't know.
levels, like a layer cake,
Sure.
like a fiery layer cake. There's a special level in my mind for people like that, where the fire burns hotter and brighter and it's more painful. People who hurt children and people who hurt animals. There's just a special place there for them, and that's all I gotta say, I guess.
It is extremely irritating. And okay, the last point that I want to bring up about the documentary,
Mhm,
it was at the end of the last episode. It was at the end of the trial. Tyler, in all of his glory, got up and he read a victim. Well, he didn't read a victim impact statement, but he made a victim impact statement. Stacy did too,
mhm,
but Tyler, bless him, he got up there and he spoke. He spoke about
mhm.
the impact to his life that the abuse has and how what it will mean for the rest of his life. And then the judge let the piece of shit talk.
That no, you lost any rights like that you had
And
the moment
okay, but
you did what you did.
what he said, all right? He got up in court before sentencing and said with a straight face that their relationship was consensual, that he thought
Mm,
that they were in love, an 11-year-old boy. He thought that they were in love and in a romantic relationship.
that makes my brain just want to explode.
Literally, my body imploded. I was like raging. Like, imagine me as a volcano. That's the amount of anger I felt. Like, but that also shows the mental disconnect and the mental
Right.
just depravity of this person to think that an 11-year-old has the ability to consent to a relationship with how old was he at that time? He was like in his late 20s. Ew, like ew. Wah.
I know.
Blech.
I know.
Like I just
I
I
know.
can't, and as a mother, I'm a single mother to an 8-year-old daughter, and I said to Janet before we got on to talk about this, like one of the reasons I'm so hesitant about dating is shit like this.
Mhm.
Because the mother did not know. As much as she protected those children after she figured it out, she didn't know that
Mhm.
whole time. And I'll be damned if I bring a predator into my home. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
my god.
it's
Like, you would kill him.
I would.
If it
I would
happened,
go to
you would
prison.
kill him.
I would murder.
Yes. Yes.
And I think you would help. And I think we would
Yes,
maybe
I
both
would.
go to prison.
That's okay. It would be for a good cause.
It would be. And that kind of okay, and so that kind of brings me to some of the statistics around child sexual abuse. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
it is disgustingly prevalent. UNICEF estimates that over 370 million girls and women, so about 1 in 8, were raped or sexually assaulted before age 18.
That is I mean, like,
Wild, just heartbreaking.
heartbreaking is an understatement. I don't even know. what the word if there's a word, uh, anyway.
And if you include non contact abuse, so kids that weren't necessarily like touched or physically abused, but were exposed to like sexual content or things of that nature, that number, 370 million, rises to 650 million. So it goes up to about 1 in 5. And boys are also substantially affected. About, they estimate between 240 and 310 million, or about 1 in 11, experience sexual violence during childhood. Little baby boys.
And it, um, Anthony Edwards, the organization that he works with, that we mentioned earlier, is called 1 in 6,
Yes.
and their data estimates that it could be at least 1 in 6 men or boys
Yes.
at some point in their life experience some kind of sexual violence.
Yes. And I don't remember the source for
So,
their
and
data, but the data that I just
yeah,
cited comes from UNICEF and an
hmm
article by Reuters. Reuters?
well, and
Reuters.
like Reuters,
I don't know. One of those two.
um, what, but then it's so much. The underreporting is so significant for men that
Yes.
the statistics will probably never be quite as accurate as they are for women.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Absolutely.
it's
It's
heartbreaking.
it's very bad.
It's very bad.
Let's see. Some United States examples and patterns. According to now the UNICEF numbers, those were global, right? If I'm
Mhm.
understanding those statistics correctly. In the United States, the Bureau of Justice Statistics, that's a lot of S's. They approximate that 1.6% of children aged 12 to 17 are victims of rape or sexual assault. That equates to 16 out of every 1,000 teens. And RAIN data shows that every 9 minutes, a sexual assault victim is a child in the United States.
Oh, that is just breaks my heart.
It's heartbreaking. And it just, I think it also shows, we've been chatting for a while now. I know we need to wrap up the episode soon, but we've got a real problem with child sexual abuse, especially, I mean, just look at the number of states where it's legal for a child to be married, and
Mm.
the
I don't wanna think about that.
political party that is fighting tooth and nail to not have a national minimum age of 18 for marriage, and the political party that is fighting tooth and nail on the state level to keep it legal for 14-year-olds to be married. And if you look at teen pregnancy statistics, the majority of teen mothers, the father is statistically older than them
Mhm.
by at least 4 to 6 years. So we got a problem with adults preying on children. And we don't, and that's not even getting into online stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's gotta be because when you mentioned the statistic about, being exposed to stuff online. I I mean, how many episodes of oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the show where they like To Catch a Predator or something
Yes.
like that, where they would I don't know. I feel like when I was young, I don't you and I are a slight age difference, but when we were young, there were no cell phones.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't grow up with a tablet and a phone and the internet, and I just think about all these kids who are I mean, they're innocent and there's a level of gullibility, as there should be if you're a child. You're gonna trust and believe.
Yeah.
and the things that they could be exposed to, or the people that they believe, the people that they trust.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and I think,
Mm,
um, as we mentioned in the episode about stalking Samantha,
mhm,
um, a lot of abuse is happening virtually, that the government is not able to keep up with or regulate. I mean,
mhm,
and are they willing to regulate it? Look what is currently happening with the Jeffrey Epstein things. Like,
mhm.
this shit is literally
It can't be regulated.
playing out in real time currently, where
Mhm,
men in position of power have sexually abused children, minors, and
mhm,
they're getting away with it. So, those are my final thoughts. And should you watch this documentary? Yes, but you should have a bucket to barf in because you're going to want to barf. And trigger warning, and take care of yourself, especially if this is a triggering topic for you. But I thought the documentary was very well done. The podcast is also very good. If you like
mhm,
podcast versus show, because they do show you some of the video that was taken, and not
mhm.
explicit things, but they do show you some of that. So,
Right.
what do you think, Janet?
Oh, you should totally watch this, barring any personal traumatic experiences that watching this would maybe send you back into a spiral of any kind. Um, eh, you know, who the hell can you trust?
Mm,
I just like look for red flags.
yes.
I pay attention. I don't even know what to say. Again, no human children, but I know if somebody looked at one of my dogs or my cat sideways, I would punch them in the face. So I can't imagine a human child, and you're always on the lookout, for someone who's going to try to take advantage of a situation.
Yes.
Anyway, if you have suffered, if you know someone who is, if you're in the middle of a situation, the National Sexual Assault Hotline number is 1-800-656-4673, or you can go to rain.org, and that's RAIN as in Nancy, N as in Nancy.org. And there's also the organization that Anthony Edwards works with, and it's the number one, the letters IN,
Hmm.
and the number 6.org. That's 1 and 6.org. And this information is going to be in our show notes.
Yes. So, again, another kind of deeper episode for us. But we felt that this documentary and the Stalking Samantha documentary deserved attention and a spotlight, and to speak about them because they are pervasive issues. Um, so, highly recommend. And, Janet, if I may, there are a couple other
Please.
There are a couple other documentaries that I also recommend.
Hmm.
Recommend.
Ricky Band.
To Catch a Predator, as we mentioned, is famously hosted by Chris Hansen. And they used online decoys that pose as minors, and then they arrest grown-ups who are trying to solicit them for things they should not be. But another really good documentary that I watched, as Janet mentioned, to recognize the signs, to try to recognize these things, to catch it before it happens or whatever. Another one is called Undercover Underage. And this is a Discovery Plus docuseries, and it follows a nonprofit called SOSA, Safe from Online Sex Abuse. And they
Oh.
essentially they use adults to create fake online profiles as children, air quotes, and
Hmm.
they identify and expose child predators. And this one was really good for me as a parent, um, because, first of all, it made me realize that I will never let my child have social media, but also just like the pervasiveness of how predators, like, how do they find victims and things like that. So I thought that that was informative along with really gross. But
And one other quick comment, um, and I heard this, I think I was listening to My Favorite Murder, and it was a similar kind of story, and they said several times, "If you are a child, an adult should never come to you for help."
no, never.
So, you hear the things, "I lost my puppy.
Mm,
Where's my bag of candy? Maybe it's in the back of this van." You know, teach your children that if an adult comes to you and asks for your help, something is wrong.
mm-hmm.
Because if anything, the adult should always be the one that you go to for help. And I'm not saying, a situation couldn't be different, but come on,
Yes.
old man in a trench coat.
Yes.
You don't need my child's help looking for your puppy.
Correct.
Anyway.
And to your point, Janet, I'm going to say this. We keep going and we continue. Um, I would really love for our society to stop putting the onus on the victims,
Thank you.
because I know that you meant that comment like with all the best intentions, but it just angers
Mhm.
me so much that I have to teach my child how to not be
Right.
victimized and potentially ruin her childhood innocence by explaining that people will hurt her,
Mhm.
instead of teaching people to not be predators. Can we do that, please? Everyone, raise your children to
Let's get on
not be
that.
pieces of
Yes.
shit. If you see signs that they have issues, take them and get them help, because we need to stop this violence at the source. And the source is the predators, the perpetrators, not the victims. So I just wanted to say that.
I'm with you 100%. All right. Whew.
Yeah,
That was a heavy
that
one.
was. I know. We keep doing it.
Mm.
Well, thank you everyone
Well,
for
it
listening.
needs to be said.
It
Thank
does.
you for listening. Our opinions and our statements are very important. Please listen to us.
As always.
Thank you.
And we'll see you
And if you
guys.
have anything, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Anything you want to share,
Yes.
email us.
Hmm.
Should I watch that 25@gmail.com?
Yeah.
And on that note,
Okay, bye.
goodbye. This episode was produced by Ryan Myrick.
Follow us on Instagram at Should I Watch That 25 and on Facebook at Should I Watch That.
Email us at shouldIwatchthat25@gmail.com.
Like, follow, and review wherever you listen to us.
Or wherever you cast your pods. Thanks.
Thank you.